Guys, welcome to Module 11. I can't believe that we are already on Module 11 of 14, so we are progressing through these modules pretty quickly. For this module, our topic is practice and application, and these are the next components of the SIOP model. And so we're going to continue to talk about the different components, and they're going to build on each other as we continue throughout our time together in our course. And so what are the overview and objectives for this module? We're going to continue to plan on how to build that background and that comprehensible input for our students. And so we talked about those in our previous modules, and now we are progressing right on through there. And we're going to continue to move through and talk about practice and application. And so in your presentation that you all have access to, you will see the learning objectives, and you will see those learning objectives have content and language objectives. And I do hope that is something that as you have your own classroom, you will have both content and language objectives for your students. And so take just a minute and read through those before we continue on. Okay. So what are we going to be talking about during this module? You're going to have the opportunity to read chapter 7 in that wonderful book. I'm serious when I tell you that is a great book. It is one that you're going to want to keep with you throughout your teaching career. Then we have a few links right here. And I have a couple of links open that I want to share with you. And so the first one is a document called Practice and Application. And so we're going to look at that. But within that, I want you to notice the features that are important for you to consider when you're planning your lesson, okay? And so let's just go ahead and let me open that up and show it to you. Okay, this is what opens up when you click that link, and it provides you some ideas and activities to differentiate instruction for your students through practice and application. And as you can see, this supplemental document for you has some lesson targets, and also it kind of delves into practice and application, and it gives you some important background information for practice and application and why it is important for you to consider in your classroom and in your lesson planning. Additionally, the handout talks about the importance of hands-on materials and manipulatives for students to help them make that language to content connection. It also talks about the importance of the meaningful practice that comes from those hands-on experiences and opportunities. Additionally, as you progress throughout the document, there's a discussion about how much material should be practiced and covered with your students at one time. And it talks about the importance of short, meaningful chunks of information. Additionally, when you're working with your students, you're going to want to have short practice periods to allow them the opportunity to put into place the content, the concept that has been uncovered. Additionally, when you're talking about these activities, you're reminded of the importance of incorporating all four domains: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. And it talks about that gradual release, okay? And that's something that you're going to see this week in your assignment as we continue to build on that lesson plan. So make sure you take the opportunity to read through this document, okay? It's got some really good information in it for you. Additionally, there's a wonderful document that we've used before during our time together, and it is the go-to strategies. And so specifically for practice and application, we're looking at pages 31 through 38. And so I've gone ahead and I've opened this document, and I'm going to tell it to take us to page, I think it's at 31. Yes, as you can see here, it lists some interactive strategies. So when you're working on your lesson plan this week on that second part of it, use this document that you have in front of you. It gives you some ideas that you can incorporate into your lesson plan for interactive strategies, okay? So make sure that you take the opportunity to look through this. And what I want you to notice is where you see those blocks shaded, it means that those are appropriate for those levels of students. So if you have a student who has a proficiency level of 3, 4, and 5, then give one, get one is an appropriate strategy to use. A gallery walk is appropriate for students at levels 2 through 5. Okay, so take the opportunity to read through here and find the ones that you can incorporate in your lesson plan this week that is appropriate for the students that you're going to be planning for. This is your checklist this week, the items that you should be covering by the end of our session together. In chapter 7 of that wonderful PSYOP book, this is kind of like a brief synopsis of some of the items that you're going to see there. I love what it says there. You can only learn to ride a bicycle by doing. And think about that as it comes to your EL students and learning the language. The only way they're going to learn that language is by practicing it and using it. And for you to plan activities and opportunities within your classroom for students to practice speaking. And so here are some teaching ideas that you can incorporate within your lesson plan and your classroom. Manipulatives and movement. It's so important to get students up and moving around the room. We talked about the importance of hands-on games and electronic games and manipulatives. Additionally, readers theater, role plays, and simulations are good. Another item that I've seen that's really useful for our ELs are those graphic novels. So if you have the opportunity to use any of those, try to incorporate those within your classroom and your plan. Additionally, you're going to want to divide the content into short sessions, just like we looked at in that PDF that I showed you earlier. And keep those periods of time short for instruction. Okay, give students time to internalize and to make that connection between the language they know and the language they're learning within the content. Within the go-to strategies, I have contained here for you is something that Cobb County uses. And they have these PSYOP strategies embedded within Elevate, which is a program they use for their ESOL program. And so if you look on the left-hand side of that chart, you're going to see a principle listed. And then over on the right, you're going to see some examples. And so when you're looking at background knowledge and culture, some examples of some ways you can incorporate that in the classroom would be KWLs or word and picture banks. Okay, classroom interaction, you can use activities such as the inside-outside circle and think, pair, share. So these are some other really good ideas for you to think about and consider for your lesson plan this week. So that brings us to our activity for this week. Now, I want to reiterate to you, you are not starting over. You are taking the lesson plan that I gave back to you with all the comments on it. You're going to use that document. Make sure that it is in Word. I do not want PDF. I want a Word document. You're going to take that lesson plan and you are going to add the second part to it. I think I have that open somewhere. Okay, so let's see. All right, so here's a sample. This sample, guys, is included in your directions. So please make sure that you take time to preview that sample and see what it is you're asking for. If you format it and you prepare something similar to what I'm giving you here in this sample, then you're going to score just fine on this second part of the lesson plan. So this top part is what you did during the first part of your lesson plan, okay? This week, what you are doing is we are doing that practice phase, okay? And if you recall back to the PowerPoint we just saw, some directions, we talked about the to, the with, and the by, okay? This is the only section that you are completing this week, is that practice phase, okay? Do not do closure, but I'll do closure this week. That's gonna be the third one that we do. I only want you to do the practice phase, okay? This is an example that is embedded within the module for you to look at. Here is the rubric. This is the rubric for lesson plan 2. It tells you right here it's worth 30 points. Now it's up to you to read these directions carefully to make sure you include all the elements that you need to earn maximum credit, okay? So please take the time to read these carefully and then look at the rubric down here. This rubric is how I'm going to assess that second part of your lesson, okay? So that's all you're doing this week is you're taking lesson plan 1, you're adding the second part to it, and then you're submitting that to me. You make sure you take time to read the directions here that are directly from the rubric and embedded within the module itself. If you have any questions whenever you start working on your lesson plan, please feel free to reach out to me, okay? I will reply to your emails as soon as I can and give you that feedback that you need to be able to continue on your lesson. I hope you have a great rest of your week.